Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
I'm such a big believer and fan of energy healing. It can change your life, make you feel better from physical situations, emotional traumas, all of that. I've done Reiki, I've done chakra balancing, like millions and millions of people over decades. Something different here. It is energy. It is healing in many regards. This is groundbreaking. You're not going to find this in this form on the internet. It's called Scalar Energy. And we've talked about this in previous podcasts. Today, we're going to witness it in action. And he's the the mad scientist behind it, but he's an amazing guy that knows energy and physics and all of that. Tom Paladino is back with us. Hey, Tom, how you doing?
I am well. Good morning, Steve. Good to be here.
Yeah, good to have you back. And for the first time, you're in your, I want to call workshop laboratory, right?
Yes. This is the Scalar Energy Laboratory. These are some of the instruments that I work with. That's right. And I wanted to give the audience a bird's eye view as to what I'm doing. So we're going to speak about scalar energy, which is not electricity. Scalar energy was first discovered and harnessed by Tesla. Nikola Tesla was the first man to develop free energy instruments. These are free energy instruments. And before I get into how it works, I want to demonstrate that these are Tesla coils. These are two Tesla coils that I work with. And this is, to my right, a scalar energy instrument that's powering, that's giving scalar expression to these two Tesla coils. So the long and short of it is, this is a new and emerging science. It's not electrical science. This is Tesla energy, or what many of us call today scalar energy. And these instruments harness that energy. It's the energy of the sun and the stars. That's what scalar energy is.
How did scalar energy get its name?
It's hard to say. Whether that's accurate or not, we don't know. But it's in vogue today. So that's the term that's being used. Sure. That's the term I use, scalar light. Scalar usually means something that has magnitude but does not have direction. So in that sense, this energy is everywhere. It has a magnitude. It fills the universe, but it's omnidirectional. It's not unidirectional. It's omnidirectional. Hence, it's really consciousness, or the mind of God, that I'm working with.
Wow. I'm actually glad it's called scalar energy and not Tesla, only in that, and I'm a marketing guy, I think there would be confusion between the car and I don't, a lot of people unfortunately don't know Mr. Tesla from the turn of the century or the 1900s. So I think that's a good thing. I'm looking there, and by the way, I've shared with you before, I am a electronic geek. I really am. So I look at your lab there, and I wish I was there. I'm not even kidding. And I used to not mess with this, but more in a building radio mode, which was energy at the same time. But a lot of things there I had by me, not those to the left there. I can barely see it, but what's going on there? That is that something to the left? I mean, far left, or the large? Okay, yeah, there it goes.
That's the scalar energy instrument. You'll see there's a capacitor, and then this vacuum tube creates a scalar energy environment. Now, my predecessor, Hieronymus, used vacuum tubes. Why do we use vacuum tubes?
I'm going to ask you.
It allows the creation of a scalar wave. So this is not solid state circuitry. You can't use a computer chip. You have to create, in that vacuum tube, you have to create a miniature universe. So you have to imitate nature. And the way you do it is by way of that globe or that vacuum tube.
Yep. And I'm familiar with vacuum tubes from radios and TVs way back in the day. I'm talking like, in the 80s. That's obviously a larger one. And just to digress a little bit here from the radio world, there are still tubes in a lot of the transmitters that are used today for radio and TV stations. Yes, they've been upgraded. A lot of stuff is solid state, but some of the older transmitters, they got to replace those tubes. And they're about the same size, maybe a little bit bigger sometimes. And they're pushing out anywhere between, 5,000, 10,000, 100,000 watts of power. If we put a wattage on that, could you even give a number of what's coming out of that?
Well, just a rough approximation, it would have to be maybe at least 5,000 watts.
Okay. And in terms of the voltage that's powering that tube, what do you got?
I haven't checked the specs on it recently. I'm not going to hazard a guess.
Hundreds. Oh, I'd have to say for sure.
At least. Yeah. At least. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. And what are the two cylindrical objects next to the gray box where you're going to put call it the sample in?
These are the Tesla coils, 2 Tesla coils.
Ah.
Everything is handcrafted. Everything is custom built. These are custom built instruments, and this is the receptacle. Now, before I get into it, to allow the audience to realize we're working with photographs. I'm going to hold up my photograph as a demonstration.
Sure.
This is not a biological process, it's an informational process. I actually take photographs of people and I place it inside the instrument. A photograph carries a scalar energy signal. So once I place my photograph in the instrument, it is immersed, it is bathing in scalar energy. This is not an electrical environment.
Right.
So by placing my photograph next to those Tesla coils, it is now feeling a great, if you will, instruction, a great impart of scalar energy. We are imparting scalar energy. Now, as a demonstration, I'll show how scalar energy imparted upon this tube, this fluorescent tube, will illuminate this tube. As I pass this tube close to the Tesla coil, it illuminates. That's how much energy is coming off those Tesla coils.
Oh, wow. So I didn't know that this thing was fired up. It's working right now.
It's working right now, Steve. I wanted to give the audience a demonstration. Here's another indication. This is a fluorescent tube. And again, this would be akin to a shocker bouncing. There's so much energy coming off the Tesla coil, it's going to impart scalar energy upon the tubes, and the tubes illuminate.
Wow.
Now that's the type of energy that is going to balance my chakras. By the way, this demonstrates that scalar energy fills an environment and can what? Illuminate a light bulb. This is the beginning model of free energy. Now, if I can illuminate a light bulb locally, then I should be able to impart this energy at a distance and illuminate objects at a distance. So that's where we're going. We want to create free energy for mankind. Again, free energy in my laboratory, and then eventually to take this model and broadcast it at a distance and illuminate a building at a distance to distribute free energy at a distance.
And just for clarity, and we've talked in depth in other episodes, but the reason we're doing this is we're taking a photograph, which has energy, an energy imprint specific to someone, this time it's you. And by using this scalar energy, we can heal someone. The energy will be transmitted to you because it's connected. There's a energy signature in your photo.
Yes.
Connects to your energy. It can be transmitted anywhere in the universe just because of the way energy works.
And that's known as quantum entanglement. So we're proving quantum entanglement. If my photograph represents me, I don't have to be inside that instrument. My photograph is connected to me because there's a force field. And when I place my photograph in the instrument, it automatically connects quantum entanglement with my force field. I want to be very careful about this. This is not a biological process, it's an informational process. And I don't claim to be a medical professional, I claim to be a scalar energy professional. So this is a different science. This is not Newtonian science.
For ease of explanation for non-geeks, non-energy people, is it safe to say that your photograph or someone's photograph or whatever you put in there, we can put an article of clothing, it's just easier to grab a photograph. Is it safe to say that it has your or somebody's energy DNA?
Yes.
That is a description.
Exactly. That's profound, Steve. Yes. And I've used that term in the past. If we have, everybody has unique DNA, this is your DNA signature by light, or it's your signature, your fingerprint by light. So again, we're not working with flesh and blood. We're working with an information system, and this information system imparts energy upon our information body. Meaning what? Most likely, everybody has an aura or a force field or a spirit. I don't work in the physical plane. I work in the etheric plane with force fields.
Couple of more questions before are you actually doing it right now since it was running?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought about this the other day since the last time we talked about energy. And would you say that works of art, music, paintings, all contain energy?
Yes.
That's transmitted when you look at them or when you listen to a song. Could be streamed on the radio, or you play something on your playlist, whatever it is. Are you getting the energy from the artist? And is it making an impression on you? And that's why we like certain art, music, whatever it might be. Something you might like, I might not, it might not resonate with me because we're different energy. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Everything has an information field. A rock has an information field. And the higher order, which is art, music, say poetry, that makes an impression. So poetry can impart what? An influence upon you, as this instrument can impart an influence upon you. So you're right. Poetry is a form of scalar instructions. Thinking are scalar waves. Intuition, creativity, those are all the byproducts of scalar thinking, scalar waves. So now we see the term consciousness, the mind of God, is indeed apparent. This instrument will prove that there is consciousness, that there is this all-encompassing energy field.
Wow. The one thing that's a question mark is how long it takes for this to happen. You put a piece of energy in there from somebody. This time we're using a photograph, and we're going to tell everybody in a little bit how you can send your photograph to Tom and have him do this for you and potentially feel the benefits. We need your help actually. See if you do feel benefits, health wise, you feel better. We'll detail that in just a moment. But with that, we don't know how long it takes for changes to take effect, right?
You're right. Why? This is a new science, and these instruments are custom built. Now, nobody else in the world has done this. So I have to rely upon the 3,000 to 4,000 testimonies on my website. That's the beginning body of evidence. Now, keep in mind, all of my work is groundbreaking, with the exception of, say, Tesla, who's no longer with us, and a few other scientists. I don't know of any other functioning scalar light instruments. So this is why we offer the 15-day free session. We want people to feel comfortable with this new technique.
And the website is scalarlight.com, SCALARLIGHT, scalarlight.com. You can upload your photograph. There's no harm done here. Don't worry about your privacy, because I said this a million times. Your picture's on the internet. You're on social media. Your picture's there. Tom could go and grab your picture and throw it in that thing. He could do mine. You have my permission, by the way, anytime you want to do it. I'm perfectly fine with it. Because if this does get the job done, things that affect us could be healed. And when I say that, what do you think, or based on maybe testimonials, things that people have reported back to you, what can be healed?
Let me put this into motion. Now, remember, this is an information system, so there's no human reasoning when I operate this instrument. I'm going to hold up to the audience a photograph of the Epstein-Barr virus. This is a common virus. This virus has a signature. That photograph details the DNA structure, the genetic structure of Epstein-Barr. If I were to place this photograph inside the instrument next to my photograph,
okay,
the two energy fields communicate. Again, this is quantum entanglement. So the energy from the Epstein-Barr virus is imparted upon my energy field as a person. I received that download. I received that influence of scalar energy from the Epstein-Barr virus the Epstein-Barr virus looks for the signature of Epstein-Barr in my quantum field and breaks down or reduces the Epstein-Barr virus to a state of chaos. I can prove that by way of photographs. I can prove that. There's a way to detect the presence and absence of the Epstein-Barr virus on my photograph. In reality, I have to rely upon people who say, I no longer am infected with the Epstein-Barr virus.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. John Doe sends you a photograph. You put it in there. You don't know what he's dealing with.
Correct.
Maybe he has a virus, maybe, bad foot issues, whatever. How does the energy address those situations? I'm going to preface in here and say that when you go for Reiki healing, which has been, proven to help people, I'm going to, for validity and credibility, hospitals do Reiki now, many of them on surgeons before surgery to make sure the energy is good and, patient at the same time. If they're doing that, the stuff must be real, right? And when you do Reiki, as I understand it, the practitioner just sends energy to you. It goes where it needs to go.
Yes.
Same concept?
Yes, exactly. This energy is the mind of God. This is universal consciousness. So I don't rely upon human ingenuity or human reasoning. The energy knows how to behave. The energy knows what to do and how to correct a situation. Anytime I place a photograph of the Epstein-Barr virus in that instrument, the instrument will correct that situation, not me.
Right.
So with that in mind, it is a dependable process that is entirely a technical aspect. There's no human reasoning. On account of the fact there's no human reasoning, there's no room for human error.
Never thought of it that way.
No.
Wow.
It's guaranteed is what I'm getting at. To cut to the chase, when you're working with light instruments and they identify microbes by way of their light signature, nothing can go wrong. It's a guaranteed outcome. The outcome is dependable.
So question here, Tom, if somebody gave you a photograph and they said, I got Lyme disease. Yeah, it's been a challenge for me. Tried, to eradicate it, medication, whatever it might be, debilitating. And you took Lyme disease photograph and put it in there instead of the Epstein-Barr. Does that better ensure that we have a better chance of making somebody feel better, the person in the picture?
Yes, because one of the photographs that I have is Borrelia burgdorferi, the Lyme spirochete. And yes, I work with various photographs of microbes, and yes, we can identify the Lyme spirochete and then reduce it or break down the molecular bonds of the Lyme spirochete. So consider that this is a straightforward approach with no human reasoning, and all I have to do is introduce a microbe, a photograph of a germ into the instrument. The instrument then will look for that microbe in my quantum field and eradicate it. It's that simple.
Might be a silly question, but could you or would you take a ton of photographs and put them in there of different microbes?
Yes.
Just stack them up in there, and then right?
Yes. To answer your question, yes, I have. I'll show you one of my collections. I have over 400,000 species of microbes. And this is an indication of some of the microbes that I work with.
Wow.
So I have photographs of 400,000 species of microbes. In 1 hour, I can scan these microbes in the instrument. So in 1 hour, I can potentially identify 400,000 species of germs of microbes.
When you put them into the device, is it a one and done, or every time you pair a photograph, you would have to do that?
Every day I work with photographs of microbes. So if one day I had a collection and I wanted to place it inside the instrument, all of those microbes would be identified and eradicated. Then I come back the next day because some people become reinfected. So it's a daily process. Every time I work with people, I always perform a pathogenic cleanse on a daily basis.
Wow. I'm gonna geek out just a tiny bit here, but inside that field where the photographs are, what's identifying them? Like in reality, we might say, "Oh, there's a
It,
camera taking." Obviously not, but what's
it's,
seeing it?
it's the mind of God. You see, this is not an electromagnetic environment. This is a scalar environment. And once again, if I placed all of these microbes close to my photograph, there's a sharing of information. The, the infrastructure pre-exists, so I don't have to identify the rate or the signal of these microbes. They automatically communicate with my photograph. And in the quantum realm, everything is an instantaneous sharing of information. It's not me. Once again, the energy knows what microbe I have in my quantum field, and it will be destroyed, eradicated.
Interesting. And you might not, or you wouldn't even have to put them in that, container. You could just lay them or put anywhere.
That's what I do. That's what I do. All you have to do is just scan them within this field.
Okay.
And in 1 hour, I could easily scan 400,000 species of microbes. So you see that this is not per se a physical process, it's a light process. And we're working with people's light field, their aura, in which we can download, impart instructions. We can download the instructions of 400,000 species of pathogens in a short order, in a short period of time.
Because initially when I looked at that container, I thought that was, that's where it's focused on, but you could lay it on the desk as long as it's within the field.
Within the field, yes, within the field. This instrument can easily work with, say, 5 million photographs a day. I've stated that before. This is the beginning of a global quantum healing ministry. This is not biological science. I don't claim to be a medical professional.
Sure.
I'm a scalar energy professional. And this instrument can work with 5 million photographs a day of people and animals. Consider what that means.
Wow. I look at it this way, and we have like a minute left here. What do you got to lose? Again, you're not giving up any information. Your photographs on social media, so there's no issues there. You destroy the photographs when you're done. Final question here. Has someone told you or people told you that they've felt better after you've scanned, or I guess scanned the photograph of them is the best way to describe it? There's been an improvement. Any thoughts on that?
Yes, the majority of people say that they feel better. And that stands to reason. If we're balancing your chakras on a daily basis, balancing your brain waves and your chakras, and we're able to eliminate microbes, the greater majority of people say, yes, they feel a shift for an improvement in their health.
Sure. And to seal this whole deal, when somebody does Reiki virtually, and that was that was the first time I ever had Reiki virtually, I did feel better. There was things that the person knew of me, nothing really personal, but it was just interesting. It validated that there was a transfer of energy. Same exact thing, essentially, was what we're talking about right now.
Exactly. Now, if you can sing and you can project a scalar voice and people feel better, or you have positive thinking is a function of scalar energy, then yes, this is a positive influence.
Right.
It all boils down to energy. We're becoming cognizant of that fact. The entire universe has an energy signature.
Yeah, absolutely. Same exact thing as when you tell somebody, hey, I'm positive vibes for, a good surgery outcome. I'm praying for you. You are sending energy their way. That is sending energy their way. Same exact thing, just in a different form. It may be in the same form in some regards, but a different way of doing it.
Thank you. Precisely. Thank you, Steve.
Amazing. Scalarlight.com is the website. SCALARLIGHT.com. You go there, you upload your photograph, 15 days, no charge whatsoever, no credit card, nothing like that. Literally just send the photograph, no invasive information or anything like that, and let Tom do his thing. You have nothing to lose. You might feel better. Imagine that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Tom, Great talking with you. Thanks for taking us through the tour of the workshop there. Fascinating stuff. And energy is real. So let's use it in this form and help people feel better. Thanks for being with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.